Great good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Tuesday, February 24, year of our Lord 2026. Cordaro Jewelers, your Victorinox watch store, tells me the time is 9:08 a.m. We are broadcasting today from the United States of America. I could prove it because the men's gold winning hockey team is going to the White House. It's also the place where the brave, like the veterans we salute today, thanks to our friend and everybody's friend, John Basiliga, and his great Serenity Care personal care home facilities, like James Lyons, Kingston, Gregory Stella, Plains Township, John Susko, German, Harold Scotty Scott, Taylor, Joseph Corsano, Berwick, and John Russ Lindenmuth, Mount Carmel. Veterans we lost this year, but celebrate today thanks to John. The United States of America, founded with the certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible, amazing, irreplaceable founding fathers, that government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our guide, our salvation, our direction. Not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. Freedom equals greatness. Not government, freedom. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them, uniquely and for the first time in history, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects and their progeny, created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose. Unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro show will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so we gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense on this day and every day is so complete that we will create and provide a sanctuary of sanity for all. For all. Left-wing lunatics included. In a world where the leadership of an entire political party, the Democrat Party, has gone insane, has become unhinged from reality, and all of their followers are crawling along behind. That's just frightening. You've got this, and you don't want to. Well, it doesn't matter. You got to start on a negative note, but the call by President Trump, which we played yesterday, to the locker room of the hockey team. It was Kash Patel's phone. And he called in. They put him on speaker. He joked back and forth. And there are these left-wing lunatic women. There they are again. The destroyers of this country. The haters of everything good. Going out of their minds. Because Trump said, well, I guess I got to invite the women to the White House as well, the women's team. They won the gold. Words to that effect. They're going insane. They now hate the men's hockey team. I mean, these people are nuts. There's just a pure hatred for life. Unreal. And so the women declined. Now, Fox News termed it to be a scheduling conflict. Well, if you could go to the White House, I don't care who the president is, you go to the White House, period. So I've lost a lot of respect for the women's team. I mean, because maybe they didn't get a call in. Well, Kash Patel wasn't in the locker room, the women's locker room, to call and put the president on. There's a lot of reasons he didn't call when they won their title. There's no special number. I mean, the tradition is that the White House switchboard could find anyone anywhere in the world. Well, all they had to do was call Kash Patel, so Trump did it on the fly, as he does most things. And people are outraged. It's unbelievable. By the way, thank you to so many of you. Fred Duckman, Barney, Bud, wishing me happy birthday today. 65 today. We had a nice, beautiful celebration at the house last night. The kids came, the brothers came, my parents came, and had a nice little party. It was great. Loved it. Every bit of it. And, 65. I think I told you guys, my parents went on a cruise and they came back. And so I picked them up down at the Greenridge Shopping Center for the bus coming from New Jersey or New York, I guess. And I took them home, and I don't know, it dawned on me. I said, your son's on Medicare. They go, which son? I said, me, your youngest. So 65 today. I mean, I don't know. You look at your parents or you look at people you love and you look at this, and I haven't talked about it a lot, but it doesn't mean it's not a tragedy of epic proportions for that family. The Guthrie family now offering $1 million reward. Well, what a disaster. A woman and, with the kind of aches and pains and issues that an 84-year-old woman could have, but living a good, full life, and she's just plucked out of her house. I've got to tell you, I'm against the death penalty. I would have no problem if the cops kill these clowns if they find them. We'll see. But in any event, continuing tragedy. Yeah, it's tough because they've been suffering through all this, and it's been so publicized. And they've run out of gas. The media's run out of gas. That's how long it's gone on. And I don't think anybody anticipated it would. But in any event, somebody texting, good morning and greetings, Bob. ALTS, meaning always love the show. I always hear the left wants to reach across the aisle. They don't. They want us to agree with them. They want us to compromise with their insanity. Remember, they're mentally ill, the vast majority of them. The others, dumb followers. The listener continues, however, they now tell us that we shouldn't be celebrating and be proud of the U.S. hockey gold medal victory. Is that what team mean about what they mean about working across the aisle? Yeah. It's unreal. And we have people, and I tell you, I can't come to a different conclusion, who are suffering from complete or partial illness. Like you have Keith Olbermann. Remember that? Jackass? Non-entity? Their hatred is so deep for this country, by the way. And the fact that it's not everything that they insist that it be, that they can't control others' lives the way they want to. Going beyond out of his mind. He was already out of his mind. Going beyond out of his mind about this hockey team who were happy to be Americans, happy to talk with the president, happy to go to the State of the Union and the White House. That's like an American dream, and you want to spit on it? What a bunch of idiots. I'm telling you. Please, and I keep telling you, please do not think these people are normal. Don't think that there's room to compromise with lunacy. There is not. Somebody takes in, happy birthday, Bob. I'll have a drink for you today in the Villages, LTS. Please do. Although I'm guessing you have a drink in the Villages one way or the other. That's a place I've got to go to. My friend, well, I've got a lot of friends down there. My old friend AJ Munchak's down there. My friend Jeff Saleo's down there. A lot of other people. And it's the epitome of where to live as an adult. And everybody there, I've not heard a complaint from anyone who lives there. The Villages. I don't know if I'll ever get there. I was pointing out, they said, well, you're going to take Social Security now. I said, well, no, because those 8.5 years I was making 12 cents an hour sort of cut into my Social Security check. So I don't know. I'll probably never be able to retire. And, fighting the feds took everything I had saved up over the years, life insurance, everything. So, no, I will be working. Bulldog, will you be working with me until I'm ready to retire? Will you tell me, Bob, you're losing it. You've got to leave. Would you be the one that would tell me that, or no? You'd be too polite. You would not tell me. Okay. Well, I'm sure someone will, and some of the listeners will. So the Bulldog's not going to tell me, so you guys have to. All right? All right. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK, February 24th. We'll take a break and be back. One of my dear buddies, Tim Early, reminds me of him every day. Duke of Earl, Tim Early, yep. Gene Chandler moved up to number one with his hit Duke of Earl, and it's these things you don't think about. And you talk about we could talk about something different every day, all day, about the greatness of Western culture. And this is one of those measures. 1582. Pope Gregory the 13th comes up with a new calendar, the Gregorian calendar in general use today, figuring out how to measure time. Otherwise, would I know what my birthday was? Western civilization provided so much clarity, so much understanding of the human condition, of what was best for people. The culmination of that. And this is how we started Monday Musings with John Perillo. Following the development of Western thoughts, Western ideals, to its apex, which is the United States of America and our incredible Constitution. All of these things are part of it. The Gregorian calendar. Somebody had to do that. Amazing. This Western culture is amazing. The font of almost everything good in the world. But there are people who want to tear it down, who don't understand it, who don't grasp it, who don't realize that it's making their lives easier. Think of it. All of these aspects. Why do the trains run on time? Who built the train system? The airports, the airlines, the traffic control system. All of these things were built. All these scientific achievements. And people want to tear it down. People want to destroy it. And by the way, many people are just outright jealous of it. Quite amazing. And like the thanks that we owe. Just there's one example. Oh, they criticize the Catholic Church. Fine. You know, I make my criticisms as well. But here is the scholarship of the Catholic Church in Rome, of this Pope and the people around him, developing the calendar that we use today. In other words, explaining the world to us and making it work for us. That's Western culture. The greatest culture. I don't care where you try to turn. Oh, yeah, some contributions. And then we've got to recognize and remember always, we are the apex, the acme, the top of the heap of humanity, the United States of America, and this amazing Constitution, which for the first time limited what government could do and recognized the individual as primary, as the most important thing, and that his and her freedom was of utmost importance, and look what happened. That amazing revelation that the individual and the individual's freedom was paramount, and all of a sudden, 200 some years later, the greatest country in the world, the richest country in the world, the most powerful country in history, all of those things come together. It's not a coincidence. It didn't just happen, AOC and you other idiots on the left. It's astonishing what they've done. And they appreciated. That's one of the greatest things about Western culture. They appreciated and understood that they were building on the shoulders of greatness, of achievement. Obviously, mistakes, the human condition will always create mistakes. It will always create jealousy and pettiness and all of those things. In fact, now, that's what a lot of people want to interpret as racism and fascism and all the isms that they throw at people. Unfortunately, at the same time this country is at its heights in many ways, we see the country and the culture under attack by left-wing lunatics that have now owned the Democrat Party, who are trying to tear it down, who are trying to destroy it, who benefit from its destruction and degradation. And that's what we are here to fight. That's what we are here to resist. That's what we are here to stop. And that's why we honor our veterans every single day we do this program. Because they either risked their lives or were prepared to put their lives on the line for this amazing culmination of Western culture called the United States of America. We'll be back. Our veterans and their tribute this hour, this day and every day, brought to you by our man John Basiliga and his great Serenity Care personal care community. 4 locations: Mid-Valley, and that means Jessup, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston, personal care services, and dementia care services. The dementia care units at Mid-Valley, Jessup, and the Kingston location. All 4 of these personal care facilities have been completely renovated inside and out. They're accepting new residents. And you need to know if it's for you or your family member that if you choose Serenity Care, John has a passion for providing the highest quality senior care in the area and beautiful personal care homes for seniors to live in and for you to be proud your family member's there. Couldn't be a more important mission. John Susko. He was 65. He was from German. We lost him February 14th. He's a graduate. He was born in New York. Graduate, though, of Valley View High School. An Air Force veteran. He worked at Barry Calabout. Active member of St. Michael's Orthodox Church, where he served as an altar assistant lighting candles. Survived by 2 sisters, nieces, nephews, and many other family members. He enjoyed his walks to Aylesworth Park and could always be seen with a book in his hands. John loved reading the funnies, telling jokes. He was a Cincinnati Bengals fan. John Susko. Gregory Stella, Plains Township. He was 88 when he passed February 4th. Best known for his 70 years as a barber. Born in the Hilldale section of Plains, he attended Plains Memorial High School and was a U.S. Navy veteran, serving all of us during the Korean War aboard the USS Valley Forge. During his time in the Navy, Greg taught himself to cut hair. Upon his honorable discharge from active service, he completed his barber apprenticeship under Teclo Baldoni of Hilldale and later worked for Al Forlenza in Pittston. In 1963, October 1st, Greg opened his own barbershop in Plains, PA. He happily served the community, giving many kids their first haircut and gaining lifelong customers. The barbershop, when it was the barbershop, man. He passed the trade on to students over his time, but also his daughter Susan, his granddaughters, Lauren and Ashlyn. The family-run business spanned 3 generations. He served on the Barber State Board of Barber Examiners for PA. He also volunteered his time to cut hair of the homeless men at local shelters. He was an avid runner, inducted in the Plains Sports Hall of Fame for running. He also enjoyed cycling. He was a member of the St. Peter and Paul Church in Plains Businessmen's Association, the Bicentennial Committee for Plains, in charge of the beard growing contest back in 1976. He preceded in death by his wife for 61 years, the former Caroline Carol Kozik, back in 2021. Lost brothers and sisters, but surviving are his children, 3 of them. 2 grandchildren, a great-grandson, and other family members. Barber Gregory Stella. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga. And Basiliga, and Serenity Care. Your personal care community, the gold standard of senior care in Northeast Pennsylvania. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker, brought to you by our great friends at Montage Mountain Resort. When you think weather, you got to be thinking, well, what's Montage doing now? Well, the best skiing you can have in a great week to do it, $49, including the skis, if you need them. Today, some morning flakes, then partly sunny, high 27. Tonight, cloudy with snow showers developing late, low 20. Wednesday, morning snow showers, accumulations of a dusting to 2 inches on Wednesday. The high will be about 40. Thursday, partly sunny, high 35. Mountain Fest at Montage coming up March 6th. Get ready for it. Be there or be square. Dion moved up to number 2 with his hit, The Wanderer. Murph says this date, February 24th, 1962. The same day that Duke of Earl was number 1 by Gene Chandler. Bob Cordaro back in WILK. 65th birthday. Thank you for your continued wishes. I'll try to get to most of them. Cabinet guy says you didn't see any of them, the Olympians take a knee like Rapinoe did. They're true Americans. Yep. And somebody else, Bob, these same people on the left saying you're anti-vaccine if your child doesn't get 216 jabs until he's 18 years old instead of the normal 76 jabs. No, they're nuts. Again, please don't give the left and the leadership of the Democrat Party credit for being normal. They are not. They are mentally ill. It's provable. You can break it down issue by issue. They're insane. And it doesn't get any better than that. All right, let's go to our girl Lorraine from Hazleton. She's like a true show woman. She waits for her theme to play out, and then she emerges on the stage. Hi, Lorraine. How are you?
Yeah, I emerged. I emerged from my cocoon. Well, here goes.
It's good to hear from you today. Go ahead. What do you
Here
got?
it goes. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Fuzzy Wuzzy. Happy birthday to you. And many more, and God bless you.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's very nice of you. Do you have a poem for us?
No.
You're not
that
prepared.
was
That was it.
no.
Your Marilyn Monroe imitation. That's all we get today.
That's right. I'm taking a break. That's your special treat.
See, you are a true diva. You don't want to be typecast as the poet of the program.
Well, I already am.
and now you, yeah. Well, we got Poet Joe too. Now we've got some poets on this program.
Well, yeah, but aren't I the number one main character?
I don't make those determinations. We just
Oh,
enjoy them all.
okay.
We enjoy them all.
Okay. I could grab a poem if you're so.
Well, Lorraine, I mean, we're almost in March. So it looks like we're going to survive another winter, the two of us old coots.
Yeah, right. Speak for yourself. You'll survive no matter what.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
I just thought I'd give you a special treat. I wanted to take a break because, oh, well, sometimes people don't want to hear a poem, maybe.
oh, I think they do. Your
So
poems,
that's
they
why-
love them.
So that's why sometimes, I feel, I thought I could grab a poem in a heartbeat, but I thought,
Okay. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
yeah.
And Mark
explain
Mayer texted in. He says he says first he was wishing me happy birthday, but and welcome to Medicare. But then he's saying Lorraine, good one.
Lorraine, good one. Oh, thank you, Marky baby. Well, when it's your birthday, I'll sing.
All right. Well, Lorraine, thank you. It was great to hear from you, my dear.
Okay, fuzzy wuzzy.
Thank you. Lorraine from Hazleton making her appearance, and the Bulldog hasn't stopped smiling since she's been on. And that means we'll take a break. We want to hear from our great sponsors, the ones that make all of this possible. And then we'll come back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. The Beach Boys. Murph tells us this date, February 24, 1965. I was 4 that day. They recorded their hit, Help Me Rhonda, at Universal and Radio Recorders Studios, Hollywood, California. No one says that word as good as Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it was one of my homes. I loved Los Angeles. They're ruining it. We've got an election out there for governor. And one of the most insane phonies in the history of politics, Gavin Newsom, is being replaced. And there could be genuine dissatisfaction. I was talking about this yesterday. California has a system where everybody who runs for governor is put into the same pot. And the top 2 then run in a runoff. And as polls indicate as of today, I don't know when the election is. I think it's in this May or something. Indicate that the 2 Republicans could be the 1 and 2. And we could have a shot at starting to restore the beauty and grandeur of the state of California. We will see. We will see. It is almost their last hope, final hope. It really is. And it's scary. Oh, by the way, this hour brought to you by our friend Tina Morocco. We heard her yesterday. Global sales advisor at Premier Sotheby's International Realty, right on 5th Avenue, Naples, Florida. She's the gateway to all of Southwest Florida and indeed all of Florida. Look, if you're getting into this, you're jumping into the Florida market, you need someone you could trust to guide you through it and to avoid the shoals. She's the one. Tina Morocco. You can reach her at tinamorocco.com, M-U-R-A-C-C-O, tinamorocco.com. She's great. So all these things going on, the State of the Union tonight, and when Trump promises a long speech, I've got a happy hour today for my birthday, okay? We call it Cuckoo Tuesdays. And it's a group of specific cuckoo people from Dunmore. And then I've got to go home and I've got to listen to the State of the Union, and he's going to go on and on and on and on. And I know parts of it are enjoyable. He just speaks too long. And he's warning us he's going to go on long, which means it's going to be worse than usual. So we'll see if I'm going to fall asleep or not. Hey, quickly, while we have a minute before the news, let's go to Jeff from East Mountain. Jeff, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good. I just wanted, number one, wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
And number two, I agree with you on the men's soccer team. Come on, let's all support it. What are these women doing to us?
I don't understand what that act is all about. And as someone texted in, Trump is the one who's fighting to keep men out of their sport so that they could play it purely. And they're the ones not going?
That's ridiculous. That's like a slap in the face. It's ridiculous. But I'm glad the men are going. I'm looking forward to the State of the Union. And
it's going to be too long, though. You know that, right?
Well, yeah, he'll go on and on. But Bob,
I mean, it's we love him, but.
Yeah, he gets carried away with himself a little bit.
And it's going to be funny, too. I mean, that I know. Those are the things you know. There's going to be funny moments. But again, right. I've got to try to stay awake for the whole thing.
Right. Hey, but how about Cash Patel? The poor guy's having a brewski and they're condemning the women.
I heard that. I heard it on the morning show and I heard it elsewhere. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Well, and the answer to that is yes. They are out of their minds. He's celebrating with our team. The head of the FBI,
Right.
he's friends with some of these guys, and he can't be there. And in fact, that's what facilitated that great phone call that was so much fun.
It was fun. Hey, were you class of 78 at Dunmore?
78 football, but 79.
I was class of 71.
There
There
you
we go. Well, a little bit difference there, but
You were with my cousin Moochie.
Oh yeah, I played ball with Moochie.
There you go.
I played ball with him. I was on the same team with him. That was awful what happened to him.
Well, you had a tough
And a
team.
great
You
guy.
guys had a
Moochie
good,
was a
tough
great
team.
guy.
Remember? And wasn't
Yeah, we had a nice team our senior year with Mooch and everybody. One last question. When do you think we're going to go? Are we going into Iraq or what?
Yes.
Iran, I mean.
I don't think there's any. I don't think they've given him any choice. The leaders of Iran, they're not only killing tens of thousands of their own people. It is the most corrupt government maybe on the planet. And then number 3, they are fomenting any kind of problems they can throughout the Middle East and beyond. They're just evil. It's an evil regime, and it's gotten to the point we got to do something about it.
Well, yes, we do, and I hope we do. And Bob, again, happy birthday, okay?
Jeff, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You got it. Bye-bye.
All right. Hey, when I look at my watch, my Bicardo Jewelers watch, and it actually says Bicardo's on my watch. I'm extra proud of that. But Bicardo Jewelers, which is your Raymond Weil, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, Seiko, Tory Birch, Victorinox, Boulevard, G-Shock, and more. It is your watch store. Their time is 10:02. Time for the news with Brian Hughes. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. My Ricardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:11 and change here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Tuesday, February 24, 20 and 26. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Serenity Care personal care community, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today thanks to John, like John Susko of German, Gregory Stella of Plains Township, James Lyons of Kingston, Harold Scotty Scott of Taylor, Joseph Corsano of Berwick, and John Russ Lindenmuth of Mount Carmel. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order after that brief news adjournment, this meeting, today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense is so complete that we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all who care to bathe in it. Luxuriate, yes, you can do that too, because they are insane. Don't get confused and say, "Oh, they're no, there's nothing normal about these people." And thank you, Greg Gutfeld, for that litany on the five. It was completely, thoroughly true. All right, so we're back, and we've talked a number of times with Kalen Deese. He's the Department of Justice reporter at the Washington Examiner. And there's two issues we want to talk to him about today. One is top of mind, and that is the Supreme Court's ruling that Donald Trump, while he has significant executive authority in the area of trade, could not impose tariffs under the specific statute that his administration chose to impose tariffs. We had Perillo on yesterday, Monday Musings. It's actually a victory, because even the three ninnies signed on to an opinion which gave him broad authority when it comes to trade. They just have to readjust and move forward. But see, that's why I don't think the ruling is monumental. But we're going to talk to Kalen about that. The second thing we're going to talk about, which was what caught my mind before the Supreme Court decision, there's an antitrust lawsuit trying to block Netflix's proposed acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery Studio and its streaming assets. This, as consumers, you will all be affected by this. You are all touched by this. So we're going to talk about that second. But here he is, without further ado, Kalen Deese, Department of Justice reporter at the Washington Examiner. Kalen, welcome back to the Bob Cordaro Show.
Happy Tuesday, Bob. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, tell me now, Kalen. Let's talk about the tariff decision. I think you heard my preamble. I don't think it's a major setback or change in any way, shape, or form.
No, I agree with you, Bob. I think that many people have the completely wrong take about how this decision went down. I agree that you can't take everything that's written in a dissent as gospel, given the fact that a majority opinion is supposed to be the part that actually is leading the law. But when you take a look closer at what Justice Kavanaugh wrote in the dissent, he's really giving the administration a roadmap in a number of different ways to look at different statutes that might be able to more justly or aptly apply tariffs, whereas the majority found, and Kavanaugh disagreed, that IEEPA wouldn't be the type of statute that could allow these types of Liberation Day tariffs to go through. Now, it's important to take into account that these tariffs that were enacted under IEEPA, roughly, 175, billion in revenue that was generated from them, there is going to be a huge and likely long legal fight that's going to play out for perhaps upwards of 4 years over different companies trying to recoup the profits or the money that was spent that they had to, sort of shoulder because of the tariffs. But I'm not entirely convinced, and it's very evident through the Supreme Court's decision, both in the majority and the dissent, that there is not a clear outline of how these reimbursements or how these refunds can work. And it's going to be litigated likely in the court of international trade. And I think that there's a good shot that some elements of these tariffs have to be paid back, but it's also not entirely clear. And I don't want anyone to say that they know for certain what's going to happen once Trump does find another statute that he can legally justify to back the same exact types of tariffs that were just in place under IEEPA, and tell me that that's not the same thing as being able to say, hey, we found a valid statute now. It's maybe it's more sustainable under legal duress, and now we can continue with this effort. It's not entirely clear to me that if they can find a new statute and it sticks, that can still justify the reimbursements.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you what's going to happen if we reimburse all that tariff money. Every single person, you and I, every person listening to this, they're going to be the ones that suffer. It's just going to be a handful of large companies that all had to, pay the tariffs on the imports, and all those companies are going to be in the same exact boat. But who's going to suffer more? And it's the people. It's every single person in this country who's going to suffer if every single penny on the dollar has to be paid back in those tariffs. So one way or another, it's incumbent on the Trump administration to fight tooth and nail not to pay back any of this money. And I mean that. And I think anyone in this country who looks at the situation right now, whether you agreed or disagreed with the tariffs, nobody should want to see that money go back out to the companies that already paid for it, because it would be detrimental for our economy, and it wouldn't be good for them either if the people that purchase their goods, consume their goods, are living in a bad economy, because that would mean worse business for them too. So I just think that bottom line, the Trump administration needs to fight this and try as hard as possible not to have to pay back any of the money from these tariffs.
Kalen Deese is our guest. He's Department of Justice reporter at the Washington Examiner. Kalen, the other part about it is calculating the alleged damages is almost impossible, but it's certainly diminished from the amount paid because the companies, the importers, just for example, let's say it's China, a company in China sending widgets here. Well, they reduced their prices in reaction. It was not a static process where you just paid 20% or whatever the tariff was. Everybody reacted it throughout the entire chain of custody of the products. So who actually got damaged and by how much is really a moving target.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a different type of analysis for each and every single company involved in its litigation process, and that is why you can't just throw a dragnet over the entire thing and say, well, everyone incurred the same exact type of suffering, so we're going to just sort of, get this done in a blanket sort of fashion. Like, no, this is going to take place on an individual basis per company. Maybe you'll try to see, some companies use the same sort of template formula legal argument. You could see some sort of similarities there beginning to form in different companies' legal arguments. I know FedEx, for example, just sued yesterday. That's a huge company. You have Costco. You have presumably, if they haven't already, I haven't checked, but Walmart. So many different companies, but all these are going to have to be checked in on an individual basis. You can't just apply the same broad swath or ruling or say that it's a given or a guarantee that this company should be owed back the money, because each one of them is just circumstantially different.
Yep.
And I think that if you want to know the truth of the matter is why the Supreme Court didn't want to have anything to say about the refunds, because they know that very likely there's a refund centric case that's going to make its way back up to their docket, and they might have to be the ones ultimately to decide if those in that particular case, whether it's a Costco or a FedEx or whatever the appeal is, they're going to have to decide if that company gets refunds, and it could potentially have an impact across the board on this entire thing. But like Trump said, I mean, 2 to 5 years, I think, is at the very least the rough timeline it would take to adjudicate all this. So we still have many, 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 many months to go before we see some sort of resolution on this.
And I predicted the loss, but I also predicted they wouldn't touch the refunds. Kalen, hang with us through this break if you can. And then I want to get to the subject that may actually be more important in the end, which is Netflix and their proposed acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. We are with Kalen Deese, Department of Justice reporter at the Washington Examiner. We're going to take a break and be back with Kalen to discuss that after this. On my 7th birthday, February 24th, 1968, the Beatles had the #1 album with Magical Mystery Tour. Murph chose All You Need Is Love from that great album. Bob Cordaro back with you on WILK. And Manila freed from the Japanese. MacArthur's promise to return fulfilled. World War II. Kalen Deese is our guest. He's the Department of Justice reporter at the Washington Examiner. And there's a fresh consumer antitrust lawsuit seeking to block Netflix's proposed acquisition of Warner Brother Discovery Studio and streaming assets. Kalen, let's start with what is Warner Brother Discovery Studio and streaming assets for that, as I, as a consumer, can relate to it.
Yeah, so I think that the best way to understand how this consumer lawsuit is working is that it's the second one that's been filed since this deal or merger between Netflix and Warner Bros. Was announced back in December. And it comes down to a handful of plaintiffs who potentially could grow in mass and become a larger group, who all share in common that they are Netflix subscribers, but they're also subscribed to other types of platforms like, for example, HBO Max, where if Netflix and Warner Brothers were to merge together, that would be two companies under the same umbrella that have both Netflix and HBO as separate entities. Well, they're currently separate right now, but they would become combined, right, if they merged. Mm-hmm. So then you have the problem or the speculation that's going on that perhaps if they're the same entity, that they would have more control over the prices. Perhaps they could even raise the prices because they're consolidating their own power and they're able to make it more, they can set the price to whatever they want now that they're under the same umbrella. That's the fear that these consumers have. They say, we are subscribed to other platforms. We fear that if this merger takes place, our monthly bills are going to go up. And that is the premise for this consumer lawsuit that was just filed earlier this month. And there's another one that's more of a class action type of lawsuit already that got filed in December, as I said. And this is all coming as the DOJ has begun to sort of ramp up its inquiry on whether there's any sort of anti-competitive, any potential monopolistic practices going on behind the scenes of this merger.
So if it was a combined company, now Netflix has tremendous platforms, as does Warner Brothers. They will be a real monster force in the content side of things, as well as in the distribution side of content delivery.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they would, Bob. And that's sort of the fear I think that some people have is, look at a recent letter that was actually penned by none other than James Cameron voicing his disagreement with this Netflix merger purely on a few different standpoints. One is that the actual philosophy of Netflix, as we've known for, it's not lost on anyone that this is a streaming company. This is a company where the content that you consume is mostly, from sofa to the television. And the problem is that you have this movie industry that is already seeing declines. You have, limited number of actual movies that are actually in the theaters now. You also have a limited amount of time that they are on the big screens. You have this situation where Netflix has allowed some forms of like limited release that last up to 17 days, but Cameron writes in his letter that that's simply too short. And the point of this is that Cameron was saying that there's a different opportunity with the Paramount Warner Brothers merger, because those are two traditional legacy film houses that are just sort of making content sort of in the old school way, whereas Netflix is actually more akin to something like a big tech company. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that you have so many jobs that get created under the traditional movie making process. Cameron was concerned that there will be less types of actual cinema that gets put in the theaters, and there would be more of the same types of direct-to-TV types of productions that could harm the industry. That was his recent concerns in a letter that he spelled out. So I think that's a little interesting now that we're seeing people in Hollywood speaking out.
Do you think the movie theater operators are going to get in on this?
It's very possible. I don't know how much leverage they have, at least in terms of the amount of money that's at stake here, and the fact that you're seeing, basically a standoff happening at the highest levels between Netflix there and Paramount. So we'll see what happens. In a couple of days, I would imagine we'd start to get more information about these talks with Larry Ellison trying to get the better deal. It appears right now that Paramount has put forth a better offer than Netflix has. But the problem is that Netflix has said that they are willing to pay any amount necessary. So we could be seeing Netflix raising the offer then again, and this could become something that could be prolonged, at least in this stage of the negotiation process. But even if Netflix ultimately gets the deal and they're able to push forward with it, there's still going to be that resistance track that's going to be outlined because of the DOJ's inquiry that's going to be going into this. Just because Netflix, let's say tomorrow, the deal is basically already inked, but let's just say they decide to move forward with it, the DOJ is still going to be keeping its investigation live and active on this, and they may be able to put forth some stops to try and get this even further delayed and go through an actual review process. So this isn't going to happen anytime soon. It's not going to happen overnight. And it seems like more and more the rhetoric of the DOJ is getting amplified. I also must add, Bob, real quickly, that Trump himself has been raising a lot of grief about the fact that Susan Rice is sitting there on the board of Netflix, and she's even giving warnings right now. This is why he's giving so much grief, is that she's giving warnings that there's going to be a price to pay for companies that capitulated to Trump or struck deals with Trump under this administration. So she's basically putting out a threat. And the president sees that as very hostile to this entire negotiation. He had kept himself quiet for a little while on this deal. He was a little bit more talkative. yeah, exactly. He had started to close his lips on this, Bob. But suddenly, now that Susan Rice is making her opinions more well known on this, and the fact that she is a sitting member of the board there at Netflix, I think that's the most egregious aspect of this entire thing, is that she's making this political now. Do you think Ted Sarandos, or however you say his name, is happy about her speaking her mind at this time?
Got to be livid. And we're playing a clip of her today, and that very threat you mentioned. She is a scary idiot, and I hope it burns Netflix, because they've been a left-wing outlet for a long time now, since establishment, as have some of their leaders and owners. So we'll see. But we'll keep track of it for us, Kalen, and we'll follow it up. All right?
Yep, have you back on. I'm sure there's going to be so many developments in the next several weeks on this. So I'll keep you apprised.
Look forward to it. Kalen Deese, Department of Justice reporter at the Washington Examiner. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again soon.
See you, Bob.
All right. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK, Veterans Tribute, and then the weather. And then we're going to check in with Alex Picardo and see what the heck's going on at Picardo's, because there's always something going on there. We'll be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our friend and friend of the veterans, John Basiliga, and his Serenity Care personal care community. 4 locations in Jessup, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston. Dementia care units at the Mid-Valley and Kingston locations. That is Jessup. These facilities have been totally renovated. They are up to the gold standard in Northeast Pennsylvania senior living. John has a passion for providing the highest quality senior care in the area, and he has done it at all of his Serenity Care community facilities. It's the place for your family member or yourself. Serenity Care. James Lyons. He was from Kingston. We lost him February 6th. Born in Port Blanchard, graduate of Coughlin High School, James was an Army veteran and served us in the Korean War. He was a member of 44th United Methodist Church, where he was a former trustee. He loved gardening and working in his yard, and in his younger years, he loved to ride motorcycles. James was an electrician, and after 70 years of service, he retired from the great IBEW Local 102. In addition to his parents, he was preceded in death tragically by his daughter, Jacqueline Cassatori, and son-in-law, Ronald Shaw. James was 91 and surviving. His wife is 69 years. The former Jane Hauser. A son, James, a daughter, Jane, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and many other family members. James Lyons. Harold Scotty Scott. He passed on Valentine's Day this year. He was 82. He was from Taylor. Surrounded by his loving family on his passing. His wife is the former Marie Fletch. The couple had celebrated their 59th wedding anniversary last September. Born in Scranton, Harold was defined as a fun-loving, happy, and jolly person who put a smile on everyone's face. The picture in his obituary tells the tale. He loved people and was always lending a helping hand. His joyful spirit was evident to everyone who knew him. Harold retired from Kaplan Furniture Company, where he was employed as warehouse manager. He served all of us in the 109th Pennsylvania Army National Guard. He's survived by his wife, Marie, 4 children, all of Scranton, several grandchildren, great-grandchildren, nieces, nephews, all of that. Harold Scotty Scott. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by Serenity Care Personal Care Community and our man, John Basiliga. Storm Tracker 16 forecast brought to you by Mount Taj Mountain Resorts. This is the week to ski. I'm telling you, from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, some morning flakes, then partly sunny, 27 degrees. Tonight, cloudy with snow showers, developing late, low 20. Wednesday, morning snow showers, accumulations of a dusting to 2 inches, obviously depending upon where you are, high 40. Thursday, partly sunny, 35. And at 10:41 and change, according to my Bicardo Jewelers watch, it's 21 degrees outside of the studio. That is the weather. Brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain Resorts. Remember this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. $49 to ski and to rent the skis. It's amazing. It is the place for winter fun. It's the place for summer fun, too, but we'll get to that when the time comes. Montage Mountain Resorts. Love it there. Well, when you hear that song, you know we're going to talk to Alex Picardo at Picardo Jewelers, your watch store, but much, much more. It's the greatest jeweler you'll ever go to. Alex, how are you? Good to join with you again today.
Absolutely. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. I hear your commercials, and I said, he's a great spokesman. I was doing commercials for you guys, and I heard one of yours, and I said, he's the best pitch man. He tells it like it is, goes straight to it. I love it, so that's why I'm happy to get you on the air now and then.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, we just shoot from the hip and talk about what you know. I grew up in the business. This was literally my daycare, so if I don't know it by now, I guess I shouldn't be here.
Did they have a high chair at the bench?
Yeah, my grandfather's lap. That's where I used to sit.
Hilarious.
As he used to do jobs. Yeah, well, happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's a good day when you wake up.
That's right. Well, tell me what's happening. I mean, we're headed into spring.
Our big wedding band sale is coming up on March 7th. We're offering 15% off, in-house layaway financing. We're trying to make it easy. What's important, the bands that day, everything that will be in stock is old gold price. I know everyone out there is going nuts with gold, and it's getting very expensive. We're honoring everything we have in stock at the old price, and we're still going to give a discount. It's a great day if you're looking for wedding bands to come in, put them on layaway, and then save yourself some money. It's a one-day sale. It's Saturday, March 7th from 10 to 5.
And by the way, that's next Saturday, not this Saturday, but the following already.
Yep, already. It's crazy how fast time is going.
So it would behoove someone, if they think they're going to get engaged, like, let's pull the trigger now. Even if you got to hang on to it, you're not going to get prices like this.
You're not going to get prices like this because there's nothing even I can do once everything moves. I have to buy at new pricing. But engagement rings, wedding bands, whatever you need, I have it. I have a full store stocked of it at the old prices. We don't do that. We're trying to help people out. Also, in-house layaways, financing. You could put it away, put a couple dollars down, and get her or him something that they always wanted and something that they'll be proud of. And we carry everything from natural to lab. Whatever you want, we do, and we have it.
I always point out when I'm talking to you, because people have the store is so gorgeous, so high end. But there's something literally for everybody, and I can vouch for that as a working class stiff. There's something for everybody there.
Yeah, and, on my other commercials, I always say that. I have something for everyone, but I do. We have a price range that no matter how nice your store is at. I mean, I do this for everybody, all of our customers, for the people, everyone around to come in, have somewhere nice to shop, but you don't have to spend ludicrous money. You come in here, you're looking for a first-time girlfriend. You want to spend $40, $50? I'll have it for you, and it will be nice, and it will be quality. That's the hardest part about that, but we do that also.
And when it's in that Picardo's bag, when it's in that Picardo's bag, they'll be excited.
Especially in that light-up box. The girls love the light-up box.
I love that. I forgot about that touch. Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, Lord. Well, Alex, thank you for checking in. So it is March 7th, the special.
Saturday, March 7th, 10 to 5.
Love it. The wedding band sale of the century. Certainly of the year, but when it's at Picardo's, it's of the century. Thank you, Alex.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And we'll make sure we talk to you again before that date to remind people.
I'll be on. Don't worry. You guys have a good day.
All right, my friend. Alex Picardo, Picardo's Jewelers. We'll take a break and be back. We got some calls we got to get to. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. The OJs. Murph says this date, February 24, 1973. I was 12 that day. They had the number one R&B hit with Love Train. Bob Cordaro back on the eponymous program. And our friend Mark Margavage, one of my favorite meteorologists on the planet, is on the blower. How are you, Mark? Good to hear from you.
Doing pretty well. How are you? I calling to wish you a happy birthday.
Well, that's awfully nice of you. I appreciate it. Hey, what are you working on lately? Did you chase this latest? What do they call this latest storm? A bomb, or what do they call this?
It was a bomb cyclone. It dropped greater than 24 millibars in 24 hours. But what I'm calling it is the storm of the 21st century, because several observation stations broke their all-time record snowfall, and two separate states broke their all-time record snowfall. There was 30-plus inches recorded across 5 states. That's New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Northeast Pennsylvania dodged a bullet on this one. I was in New Jersey, and even there, the heavy snow band set up about 10 miles to my east. So I didn't get into the 20-plus inch snows, but the vast majority of New Jersey did. And it's certainly going to be a memorable storm for the people that got hit by it. The maximum snowfall reports that I saw was around 41 inches in Rhode Island and Massachusetts.
The coastal areas, or more inland?
The coastal areas certainly got it, but it did extend inland a decent ways, at least to the Massachusetts border and part of southeast New York, including like the Hudson Valley area. So, I wouldn't necessarily call that the coast.
Yeah. Well, my friend of mine's Brian Kelly, who's on this show as a legal expert quite often, he showed a picture of his son shoveling snow, and it was above his head.
Yeah, in Rhode Island and Massachusetts last night, they got a snow band that was dropping 6 inches per hour. Wow. So try to imagine that. Every hour you're going out and shoveling 6 more inches of snow. By the time it was over, it looked like they're digging tunnels.
Wow, crazy. And these things, what causes this bomb to happen?
So when you have upper-level dynamics in just the right spot at just the right time, you can get a rapid drop in pressure and a big snowstorm. And that's exactly what happened. We had an upper-level trough that went negatively tilted over the mid-Atlantic, which also had a feature called an inverted trough, which captured the developing surface low-pressure system just east of Delaware. So actually, I left Delaware out of this conversation. They got in on it, too, with 30-plus inches down there in one spot. Now, it wasn't widespread in Delaware with the 30-plus, but there was one report I saw. Lots of 20-plus and certainly blizzard conditions. My sister lives down there. She was sending me videos of it throughout the storm. It was pretty incredible. Unfortunately for my forecast, it didn't work out here in Northeast PA, but it did work out everywhere else. It doesn't feel very good when the home crowd isn't satisfied, but I did my best.
We're happy. Most of us are happy to miss it, even though I don't mind snow at all.
Yeah, I guess that's one way of looking at it. I guess the people that didn't want to see it are happy, but I feel bad for the snow lovers that missed out on the storm of the century.
Well, our friends up at Montage Mountain, they're happy we missed it. they're more happy to make snow for people than to have these monster snowstorms where people can't get to the mountain.
Yeah, I was listening to you talk about Montage Mountain. I think you've convinced me to maybe take a trip up there tomorrow. They're going to have some fresh snow overnight tonight. Nice. So it's always interesting when we get snow shower forecasts that have an accumulation attached to them. I don't like to use the snow shower term. I just call it snow. But I'm thinking coatings to 3 inches tonight. So if you are interested in going skiing, it would definitely be a great day to do it tomorrow.
All right, and Montage is the place to do it. Mark Margavage, thank you always. You've given us great information. Not only is he a meteorologist, but he studies the climate in a really common sense way, and we love to hear from him. Thank you, my friend, and thanks for the birthday wishes.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Bob. Make it a great one.
All right, man. That I'll guarantee. We'll take a break because as I look at my Cordaro Jewelers watch, it's telling me it's 11:02, which means we're past the time for the news. We'll be back after that. Great good morning, everyone. Bacardo Jewelers, your Michelle watch store. Well, the time there is 11:10 and change here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Tuesday, February 24, year of our Lord 20 and 26. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our friend John Basiliga, featuring today his great Serenity Care personal care community, the gold standard in senior care in Northeast PA. We pay tribute to veterans we lost this year, but celebrate today, thanks to John, like Harold Scotty Scott of Taylor, James Lyons, Kingston, John Susko, German, Gregory Stella, Plains Township, Joe Corsano, Berwick, and John Russ Lindenmuth, Mount Carmel. So with history, our great founding father, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our unvarying, unwavering commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in a world where an entire political party has gone insane and many more following them. But that's okay. We love them. Hey, Tommy P's on patrol. South Apple Street is safe in Dunmore. And a couple other notes. That was Officer Tatum. He's a guy I follow on Instagram, and he's got a multifaceted interview with an imam. Now, this is a true Muslim, not the Islamists that we need to fear and need to be concerned about, but a true Muslim who I believe happens to represent the vast majority of practicing Muslims. And we'll play him time to time because it's important you hear that there is a great side to this religion. Not just the people who hate America, the whole package that we're confronted with day to day, although they need to be feared, confronted, and taken on and protected against. But it does not go to all of our Muslim brothers. Just be aware of that. Well, on the 80th anniversary of World War II's end, an author by the name of Margie Boucher, and if I'm pronouncing it wrong, she'll tell me. She wrote an historical novel highlighting the risk and courage of the French resistance. It's called We Chose Resistance. And it is a great book, a fascinating read. My guy Brian Hughes turned me onto it, our news guy. And here she is, Margie Boucher. How are you?
I am good, and it's Bookite, but you were close.
Bookite, okay.
Yeah, you go.
I was giving you the fancy pronunciation, and plus you had me with the French.
I love that. That's terrific.
Virtue out of mistake.
There you go.
Well, tell me, this book has gotten great reviews. We Chose Resistance, about the amazing French resistance. It was featured in a couple of movies, the French Resistance, more than a couple of movies. Tell us about it from the standpoint of your novel.
Well, I'm not sure my book was featured in some movies, but I would love that.
Yeah, no, the French Resistance is what I meant. But
okay, yeah. Let's get it in some movies, Bob. Let's do that. So my book, I live part of the year in France because of my husband's work as an engineer. And we got to know some people who actually lived during the time of World War II and who had family who were part of the French resistance. So we had some firsthand interviews with people about life on the ground for the French resistance during that time. And I just got fascinated by the subject. and ended up looking into it. And so, what I wanted to do with the book was to really focus around the time of D-Day and how instrumental the French resistance was, along with Churchill's spy network, in making sure the ground was clear for the Allies when they landed on those beaches in Normandy. And they really helped just to ease the path across Europe, the French resistance. So
you think of the courage, which you got to talk to some of them and meet some of them and know some of them, the courage of these people, because they're under the Nazi boot. Their own government, or at least the standing government, has capitulated, and they're standing literally alone.
Yes. Yes, and the people themselves, it was very interesting in France. We see it here a little bit. I mean, people were divided in their loyalties. Like, some people saw the Germans, the invasion, as bringing order to France. Some said, I don't even want to deal with this, and they just closed the doors and ignored it. And then there were other people that said, I can't deal with this level. They viewed it as evil in their country. And so they, began fighting back. And the first people to fight back were the ones that were in General Petain's army. Now, General Petain was very famous. He was the World War I general who basically took over as the Marshal of Vichy, France. And some of the people in the army were so angry at him for capitulating to the Germans. And that was the beginning of your resistance movement, that and people leaving Germany, people coming from Spain and Italy. But then in 1943, Hitler said, I need every young person from the age of 12 up to come and work in my factories to make weapons and cars and machines and whatever. And the French people said, that's it, no way. And they told their kids to get out. And the kids went, and they lived rough in the forest. And the numbers in 1943 of the resistance just ballooned. It was incredible. So my story is fiction because I wanted to present sort of a multi-layered, texture of what it was like then, and not just give one perspective.
Well, the interesting thing about the book is exactly that. You put it into fiction, but it reads true to history, all the history I've read.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some things, that for instance, like I'm protecting families, who have property there or whatever, changing names of things. But some facts are consistent. D-Day is consistent. Some of the attacks that I bring up in terms of the battle at Souham or in Pierrefitte-sur-Saône in the Loire region, those are true to fact on their dates. And those battles did happen. However, those sites, it's interesting to the French, are sacred because they're seen as memorial sites. For instance, where the Souham Maquis is another name for the French resistance, and the La Ferté-Maquis died, are actually memorial sites on private property. But once a year, they're open up to the public to pay tribute. And that is also true on the beaches in Normandy. There are French people that consistently every year go and lay flowers or pay tribute to Americans who fought and died over there and who have no family or connections, just to pay tribute to the people that helped them win that war.
Can you stick with us through a commercial break?
I sure can.
All right. I want one more time, the correct pronunciation of the name, given that I butchered it already.
It's Boukite. It's like Bookite.
Okay. Margie Boukite. She's our guest. She wrote We Chose Resistance, a novel commemorating the French resistance in World War II, as reviewed by Marika Biagio, author of The Model Spy. It brings the chaos and courage of occupied France vividly to life, and that it does. We'll take a break and be back after this. Murph tells us, on my 18th birthday in 1979, the Police debuted on radio and charts with their first single, Roxanne. And of course, this date, 1981, remember watching it at the Deke House at the University of Rochester after that incredible win over the Soviets. The U.S. ice hockey team clinches the gold medal with a 4-2 win over Finland, which was no mean feat itself. And this was at the Lake Placid Winter Olympics, and it was astonishing. And it wasn't easy. They played a great Finland team and defeated them as well. So we are joined by Margie Bukite. Margie Bukite. And, Margie, I don't usually battle over names, but for some reason, Margie Bukite it's killing me, but I'm back. I want them to spell it right so they can find the book.
Yeah, well, you know what? My dad used to say it's Mr. Boucher. So it's Buchheit, but in German, that CH is a K. It's a K sounding. Okay. So there you go. Yeah.
Bukite. I got it.
Yeah. There you go.
The Bulldog, who is my producer, he's got it spelled phonetically, so I can pronounce it, and I'm still blowing it, But that beautiful name aside, what you mentioned getting to know some of these people who were involved in the resistance, their friends, all that. Is that what made you decide you had to write this novel?
It was. The subject just grabbed me. The three older ones that are no longer with us that were actually there, but one in particular, Chantal Dupuis was her name, and she was the youngest of 5 children. And their house they lived in a rural area of the Central Loire. And next door to them was a policeman that at that time, the ones that supported the Germans were called the Milice. And they were put in place by General Pétain. So one night, 3 pilots were shot down, American and Canadian, in the acreage behind them. And the family ran out and got them and brought them into their house and hid them. And they also got their parachutes and hid their parachutes. The parachutes were hidden, this is very interesting, in beehives because the thinking was, first of all, silk. They were made of silk, and those were very valuable then. And the Germans wouldn't go near a beehive.
By the way, many of them made in Scranton at our own silk mill, which is now a multi-use residential complex.
That is so interesting. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yes.
So anyway, they hid these 3 pilots in their attic for a year. One of them was injured. They snuck a doctor in there to take care of him. And this guy, the Milice, would come by and say, "Did you see anything? Did you hear?" And they go, "Oh, no, we don't know anything, nothing about that." And then the older of the children, Chantal, was very young at that point. I think she was only 9. But her brothers and sisters, part of them were with basically like an underground network. And they were able to get these guys out. And they would go down. At that point, France is all occupied at that point. And they took them out through the Pyrenees, as you've read some of these stories, and got them out through Spain. So incredible stories like that, and then, the 2 others were young kids as well, but even kids, this one guy, he was talking about how they would make spikes out of wood, and they would go stick them into bridges that the Germans were rebuilding. These would be like pontoon bridges or something, with the aim of blowing out the tires, of the German trucks. So it was stuff like that just inspired me. But I also wanted to give different perspectives.
And one of the interesting ones is parallel to the stories you do is a wealthy French family which collaborates with the Nazis.
Right. So that family is fictional. Okay, and so the question, but the boy, so there's a main character in my book. His name is Martin, and he's a 10-year-old boy, and he's grown up in rural France. Okay, but his parents, and now this is true in terms of the greater picture. There were many families who did collaborate and work with the Germans because they thought it was bringing order to France. So I started asking myself, okay, here you are, you're a French kid, all your friends are in the village at the French school, and all of a sudden your parents pull you out, and not only that, they open their house, they've got this big house, and they open it to the Germans, say, hey, you can stay here, no problem, we got no problem with that. And your whole world as a kid is suddenly turned upside down. So that's one of my characters is Martin. Another who is turned upside down is, and this is based on fact, he's a Jesuit priest, the guy Renard, who decides he's going to join the resistance and actually becomes a resistance leader in the Loire region. Now, the Jesuits of Paris defied Rome and said, Rome wanted them to follow Hitler, and they said, no way. We are not collaborating with that person. And they defied Rome, and they basically supported the resistance in so many ways, by bringing food, by hiding people, by forging identity cards, helping to get people out of the country. And a few of them did pick up arms and actually train and work with the resistance.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What just the incredible courage, the pressure they were under, because getting caught meant death, torture to the whole family.
Right, and that's an interesting point you bring up, Bob, because we still experience this today with our older generation of friends, that had family, their parents. So in this network, think about it. You had to know your network. There, and you certainly weren't putting things out on phones or anything like that. Lines were tapped. I mean, things were looked at. So your network might be your family and your most trusted friends. And you would hope that those trusted friends, if they were captured, would, would not fold under pressure.
Yeah.
And the pressure that the Germans put on people that were captured was incredible. And so that's sort of where this all went. And, families today, we had one incident with the parents of some friends, and the mother, she said hello to us, but we tried to start a conversation, and the friends that were our age, they had left. And she said, I can't talk to you. Finally, she came back, or our friends came back, and he formally introduced us. And then she just opened up. It was like you couldn't shut her up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole network.
Amazing. Do you speak fluent French?
Well, that's a slippery slope, isn't it? I like to say I speak fluent French, but I'll tell you my verbs, I'm still working on them.
Okay, but certainly workable enough to communicate
Yes.
with these people. Yeah.
Yes. And we saved a lot of these interviews on tape. They were just so incredible. And what we learned. I mean, also the resistance was just so integral to the success of D-Day. In the months before D-Day, the Churchill spy network, the Special Operations Executive, their spies were viewed initially as being, possible intruders and traitors. The resistance is like, I don't know. How do I know England's not going to take us over?
Yeah.
And so finally, by 1943, late that time, they started working together and trusting one another. And in 1944, the agents, right from the center of France, began a process of sabotaging radio discs, railroad lines, bridges, soldiers, the German army marching towards Normandy. They just did everything they could. I call them the great disruptors.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They were so good at that. And it could have been just small things. Maybe they blew up a line so the train couldn't get there. Or they blew up the train itself. It had, stuff on it. Or with the spies, they let the spies know where they were, and the spies could call in the coordinates of something that was too big for the resistance to take care of. It was incredible.
This is an amazing novel. Just a final question. In the cover of We Chose Resistance, Margie Bookite, you have, is that a cross that is the T in the word resistance?
Yes, and that's a really interesting, I'm glad you brought that up. So that is called the Cross of Lorraine, and it's a very old symbol in France of resistance. It dates back to, I think, I'm going to go out on a line here. I think the 1600s. I may be wrong about that, but it was first used in the Alsace-Lorraine region as a symbol of resistance against tyranny there. And so when the French resistance began again in World War II, they used that. They picked that up and said, this is going to be our symbol of resistance. Amazing. And it's sort of an age-old symbol. It's very interesting.
Yeah. We have to talk about this again. There's never enough time. But Margie Bookite is our guest, and her book, her novel, historical novel, We Chose Resistance, is the featured product we're talking about today. We thank you very much for coming on. And if there are any red letter days coming up in the future, I'd love to have you on again.
Oh, that would be great. Just, contact our mediator here and let me know what's good, and I'd be happy to do that.
Amen.
And also, I'd point people to my website with my unspellable name, MargieBucheit.com. If they want to buy the book, it's also available on all the major platforms. You can find it there, and there's an audiobook. Not an audiobook yet. I'm working on that.
Okay.
There's an ebook.
Well, neat. It's a lovely work, and it is deep, and it is something that's incredibly important. We appreciate you doing the book and then talking to us about it here, and thank you for being on.
Oh, thanks so much. It was really nice talking to you.
Our pleasure. Margie Bookite, We Chose Resistance is the book. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute, brought to you this hour and every hour, this day and every day, by a super patriot by the name of John Basiliga, featuring today one of his great companies, Serenity Care, A personal care community, place you'd love to have your family member live or yourself, because it's the gold standard of senior care in Northeast Pennsylvania. Jessup, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston. Dementia care units at the Jessup, Mid-Valley, and the Kingston locations. Totally renovated. Gorgeous. Be proud to be there or to walk in and say, my family member lives there. Serenity Care, personal care community. Joseph Corsano. He was only 55 when we lost him on Valentine's Day. He was from Berwick, a Navy veteran who enjoyed working with computers. Born in Belleville, New Jersey, he was a 1990 graduate of Berwick High School. Joe served all of us in the U.S. Navy from 1991 to 1995. He worked for many years at Wise Foods in Berwick. Most recently, he was employed as a supervisor at Breeze Line. He loved technology, enjoyed working on computers, 3D printing, and gaming. In 2013, he met the love of his life, Wendy Fetterman Corsano. They were married in 2018 and enjoyed spending as much of their time together as they could. In addition to his wife and mother, he'll be greatly missed by his sisters, nieces, nephews, and many other family members. Joseph Corsano. John Russ Lindenmuth. He was 92. He was from Mount Carmel. We lost him on Valentine's Day as well. He said he returned to the Lord on that date to be with his wife on Valentine's Day. He had a long battle with COPD. Russ was born in Mount Carmel, 1933, graduated from the great Mount Carmel High School. He married his wife, Virginia Batista, in St. Peter's Church. They were married for 57 years when she preceded him in death. Russ was a veteran of the U.S. Navy, serving in the submarine service on the USS Argonaut during the Korean conflict. He was proud of his military service and was a member of the Williamsport chapter of the United States Submarine Veterans, member of the American Legion in Mount Carmel, and later the Millville chapter. He was a current member of the Mount Carmel VFW. His family says he was a tough man and a tireless worker who had many occupations during his life. He retired from Wenco Windows. He was a devoted football fan, very active in the American Hose Fire Company in his younger years, serving as a firefighter. He helped establish their ambulance services and served as a responder. He's survived by his children, 4 grandchildren, and great-grandchildren as well as other family members. Russ Lindenmuth. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga and his great company, Serenity Care, a personal care community. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, some morning flakes, then partly sunny, 27 degrees. It's 23 right now. Tonight, cloudy with snow showers developing late, 20 degrees. Wednesday morning, snow showers, accumulations of a dusting to 2 inches, 40 degrees. Thursday, partly sunny, 35. And just a reminder, this weather brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain Resorts. Everything is happening up there all winter long, from skiing to snowboarding to the amazing lodge to the beautiful tents with fire pits to have a party at. The best. Montage Mountain Resorts. And they've got a $49 special, including ski rental Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Montage Mountain bringing you the Storm Tracker 16 forecast. My 29th birthday, 1990. Bob Dylan, Murph tells us. Bob Dylan, David Crosby, Roger McGuinn, and Chris Hillman sang the song Mr. Tambourine Man at a tribute to the late Roy Orbison. And before that, a chilling threat of retribution from Susan Rice, one of the shadow leaders of the leftist movement in this country. They will be out for revenge, and they will be as savage as ever. Just remember that. Remember what this woman is saying. Remember what this Democrat leader is implying and threatening. These are scary people. These are hateful people. These are disgusting, mentally imbalanced people. Challenge her to say, well, okay, what? He broke down your precious DEI? That's the problem? Really? They're sick. And they are our political enemies, I guarantee you. Time for the Bloomberg Money Minute because my Bacardo's watch says it's 11:50 on the nose. Biden banner disgrace. Day 71. A stolen valor hometown hero banner hung by the Greenridge Neighborhood Association. If you're in that neighborhood or in that association, take it down. Put any kind of banner up there. Disgrace yourself by associating with this fool, this worst president in history. But do not debase the men and women who actually serve this country in our military. Biden banner disgrace, day 71. Well, we're finishing not only with the Biden banner disgrace, day 71, but Elton John, one of my favorite songs of all time, released on my birthday, 1975. And I listened to it all spring, skipping to school. Philadelphia Freedom. And that'll take us out. Somebody takes in Bulldog, Biden banner update. Biden not a veteran. Number of you texting in about that. A couple of you just comparing me to Rush Limbaugh, saying you're happy to have me replace him. Well, it's the second best compliment I ever got. The first was a guy up at Camp Freedom, a Marine, telling me I reminded him of every gunny sergeant he ever had. And I told him that's the best compliment I've ever had. So this is Bob LTS. Enjoy listening to the show and occasionally contributing my thoughts. You truly remind me of Rush Limbaugh, which is a wonderful comparison. I hope that you have a wonderful, amazing, happy birthday, Ernie from Falls. Ernie, that's a great birthday present. Believe me, it is. Happy birthday, Bob. Hope you have many more to come. LTS, keep up the great work. You truly are our Rush Limbaugh. Yeah, I'm doing cartwheels when you say that. Mark says LTS, happy birthday, and many others. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll enjoy the birthday. And I will promise to come in less than foggy tomorrow. Okay. Sue Henry show next. Rob O'Donnell show after that. Thank you to Tina Morocco, who brought you this hour. Global Sales Advisor, Premier Sotheby's International Real Estate, Naples, Florida, serving all of Southwest Florida. You can reach her at tinamorocco.com. That's MURACCO.com. Guys, my Bacardo Jewelers watch says we're out of time. I gotta go. I don't want to, but I have to. Have a great afternoon. But for now, we've got to gavel to a close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, because it's noon and change. Have a good one. Have a great one. Have a safe one.